Imagine stepping into an elevator, pressing your floor, and then nothing. No arrival, just a chilling void where you once were. What if a simple daily commute turned into an impossible disappearance, leaving behind only whispers and unanswered questions? This isn't fiction. It's a true enigma of an elevator that seems to swallow people whole. What if the most mundane part of your day held a terrifying secret? For some, an elevator ride became a one-way trip to nowhere. We're talking about inexplicable disappearances, vanishing acts without a trace, all linked to one specific, unsettling elevator. Are you brave enough to hear the witness accounts and unravel the chilling truth of what happened? Forget Bermuda Triangles and alien abductions. What if a common elevator could make people vanish? We're diving into the bizarre case of the phantom elevator, where ordinary individuals stepped in and simply ceased to exist. Prepare to be unnerved by the unsettling details and witness testimonies that defy all logic. This isn't just a story, it's a terrifying reality. In October 2013, an incident occurred in downtown Seattle that still defies official explanation. Surveillance footage from the Skyline Towers residential complex shows a woman entering the elevator on the 22nd floor, pressing the button for the ground level. The doors close, the car begins to descend, and after 38 seconds, the recording cuts off. When the elevator reached the first floor, it was empty. No trace of exit, no mechanical failure, no damage to the doors. The woman was never seen again. At first, the event was dismissed as a system error or corrupted video feed. But when technicians examined the file, the codec was intact, the timestamps precise, the image stable until the final frame. The anomaly appeared when engineers attempted to replay the elevator's route through the central control system. The monitor displayed a stop at B3, a sublevel that did not exist. According to the architectural plans of Skyline Towers, there were only 3 underground levels: parking, utilities, and storage. Beneath that, solid concrete and earth. Yet the system recorded a brief 8-second stop on B3 before returning to the surface with no passenger inside. 3 days later, a maintenance technician named Alex Vincent reported sensor interference in the lower section of the shaft. When he entered the machinery room, he found a small metallic token on the floor, engraved with the symbol B3. There was no manufacturer logo. The metal was warm to the touch, as if it had just been held. A full inspection of the elevator revealed no malfunctions. The cables, pulleys, and brakes were all operational. There were no scratches, no irregular friction marks, no mechanical stress. But Vincent noted in his report, at sub-level 2, there's a faint sound resembling movement from a second cabin. The building's blueprints show only one shaft. A week later, another disappearance occurred, a delivery courier. His phone was found in the lobby, but its last GPS ping came from below ground, registered at level -3. Strangely, the timestamp was 2 minutes after the elevator had already completed its trip. The device appeared, for a brief moment, to exist somewhere lower than the building's foundation, then vanished from the network entirely. By then, residents had begun to notice strange behavior. The elevator stopped on random floors where no calls had been made. Sometimes the doors opened to empty corridors, releasing a faint hum that seemed to come from deep below. The service company, Otis Elevators Incorporated, confirmed that the system had logged phantom calls originating from an undefined source, always labeled B3. In December 2013, part of the building was closed for technical review. When engineers removed the interior panels of the elevator, they found a thin layer of residue, crystalline and dry, but saline. It wasn't condensation, it was salt. The wiring was clean, no leaks, no corrosion. The residue was evenly spread, as though the elevator had been exposed to an atmosphere dense with sea air. When they checked the ventilation channels, they found that the shaft's air intake was not connected to the building system. Air was rising from below. Yet the base of the shaft ended in reinforced concrete. Thermal scanners detected a faint heat signature roughly 40 meters beneath ground level. There was no access point. That was when Robert Clark, an inspector with the city's engineering department, proposed excavating beneath the foundation to rule out an undocumented substructure. After weeks of legal negotiation, permission was granted. On the night of January 14th, 2014, the crew began drilling beneath at the lowest level. 7 meters down, the drills struck metal, a perfectly smooth, cylindrical surface, matching the diameter of the elevator shaft. The material was dense, metallic, and unusually cold, 10 degrees lower than the surrounding temperature. Then, at that very moment, the elevator, fully disconnected from power, began to move. The cabin, resting idle on the first floor, descended on its own. Every electrical circuit confirmed 0 voltage. Still, it moved. The sensors indicated it stopped on B. 3 minutes later. Power was restored. The car returned to the ground floor. Inside was nothing, except for the same metallic token lying on the floor. The next day, Clark resigned and left the state. His report contained only one line: lower level active. Do not use the elevator. A week later, at 3 in the morning, all 3 elevators in the building activated simultaneously. The security cameras lost power, but an audio sensor recorded metallic reverberation, doors opening, movement in the shaft, a faint echo like footsteps. 20 seconds later, the lights came back. Every cabin stood on the ground floor. All were empty. On the floor of one, wet, bare footprints. Within hours, Skyline Towers was evacuated. 3 days later, the complex was sealed and the elevator shafts filled with concrete. Months later, under a new name and new management, the building reopened. The night guard reported hearing mechanical sounds in the basement, the slow movement of a cabin descending below ground. The system logs showed no active calls, no power consumption, no motion recorded. Only a low-frequency vibration, synchronized with the sound of a button click, the one marked B3. The final report of the municipal inspection concluded system malfunction, probable software anomaly. But the engineers who had written the code disagreed. The firmware contained no reference to a sub-level B3. The line didn't exist. Among technicians in Seattle, one phrase remains a warning passed between crews to this day. If the elevator calls by itself, don't answer. It's not a call, it's an invitation. Years passed before anyone dared to reopen the case. After the Skyline Towers complex was renovated and rebranded, the elevators were permanently sealed, their shafts filled with reinforced concrete. The new management avoided questions from journalists, insisting that the former system had been fully decommissioned. But in 2018, during routine maintenance of the electrical grid beneath the property, a city contractor reported hearing mechanical vibration coming from below the sealed foundation. The noise repeated every 12 hours, always the same duration, 38 seconds. A new inspection was authorized, this time under municipal supervision. The site survey confirmed the existence of a hollow cavity beneath the building's lowest point, roughly 40 meters deep. Ground-penetrating radar showed an object within it, cylindrical, metallic, identical in dimensions to the original elevator shaft. When drilling equipment approached, sensors recorded electromagnetic interference strong enough to disable every camera on site. The crew retreated, and the hole was resealed. 2 weeks later, the lead inspector, David Hanley, disappeared. His vehicle was found in the underground parking structure. Security logs showed that he had entered the restricted maintenance zone alone at 2:14 a.m. The last image of him came from a motion sensor in the old elevator lobby. Hanley, standing in front of the concrete wall where the elevator doors had once been, staring at the sealed outline as if listening to something on the other side. The sensor cut off after 38 seconds. Following the disappearance, the property was quietly purchased by a private research group calling itself Intracore Systems. Public records list their focus as structural acoustics and subterranean mapping. In 2019, the company began excavating beneath the complex under the guise of geothermal research. Residents of nearby buildings complained of low-frequency hums shaking their windows at night. Then, one morning in late September, the noise stopped completely. City permits show that Intracore ceased operations without explanation. But several months later, a data leak from an anonymous source revealed a set of internal maintenance logs, dated the night before the company abandoned the site. The first entry was a simple observation: tunnel alignment achieved. Shaft extends below predicted depth. The second, contact with unknown structure. Surface metallic. Temperature 9 degrees Celsius. The final entry. Audible signal detected. Frequency pattern identical to elevator chime. After the leak, the building was condemned. It stands empty to this day, fenced off, awaiting demolition. Yet, in satellite imagery, a faint heat anomaly remains visible beneath it, roughly cylindrical, precisely where the elevator shafts once stood. In 2020, a local urban exploration group calling themselves the Transit Archive broke into the site. They descended through an old drainage tunnel connected to the former foundation and recorded nearly an hour of footage before their equipment failed. The recovered fragments show a smooth, vertical corridor descending far beyond the expected depth. The walls glisten as though wet, but later analysis found no trace of moisture. Only a fine crystalline residue chemically identical to sea salt. The last seconds of the footage capture the faint illumination of indicator lights embedded into the wall. One of them reads B3. Then the camera falls, the feed cuts, and the group's channel has not posted since. Weeks later, the city received a complaint from nearby residents reporting the sound of an elevator bell echoing through the storm drains at night. The call was logged, but no follow-up was conducted. When municipal workers later checked the area, they found the storm drain grates coated in salt and faint metallic dust. Officially, the Skyline Tower site is now classified as unstable terrain, scheduled for full demolition within the next decade. Unofficially, city workers avoid it altogether. Contractors claim that GPS devices malfunction near the perimeter, their elevation sensors oscillating between ground level and B3. The readings last exactly 38 seconds before normalizing. Among maintenance crews and building engineers, the phrase has become a kind of warning, whispered half seriously, half in fear. If the elevator calls by itself, don't answer. Because sometimes, they say, in the quiet hours before dawn, when the street outside is empty and the city hum fades, you can still hear it. The dull metallic chime of an elevator arriving from a floor that doesn't exist.